Untamed is going to be untamed. It's going to be a little crazy. I want to talk to my people. I want to talk to my brothers and sisters. We can have grace and humility in how we interact with other people.
Oh, hot dog, look at you.
And nobody talked about what's really happening.
And let's have conversations about what truth is.
I don't think you can politically exist if you're not going to do voter ID and these things. I don't think the people in this country will stand for it. So I'm making my biggest plea tonight. It'll make you, and I'm not doing it for this reason at all. It'll guarantee the midterms. It'll guarantee the midterms. If you don't get it, big trouble, my opinion. If you get this, your midterms, and they know it. For two reasons. Number one, they won't be able to cheat. And number two, the people are demanding it. Every time I go out, Save America, sir, Save America Act. We want the Save America Act, sir. That's all they talk about. They don't talk about housing. They don't talk about anything. That's what they talk about. And if you send it up that you're going to win the midterms at levels that you can't even believe, and you're going to win every election for a long time until somebody screws things up, and hopefully that won't happen. But I've never been more confident that if we keep these promises and deliver on this popular agenda, the American people will stand with us in overwhelming numbers, just as they did in 2024.
So what President Trump is talking about is that passing the SAVE Act. So who are we going to talk about today? We have to talk about Senator Thune, this ass clown. He's a Republican, they said. So before I came on the show, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go ham on Senator Thune." He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Because he's a piece of shit." And they're like, "Joe, he's a Republican." And I was like, "I don't care if you're a pink dinosaur." See, that's how it works. I don't have to agree with his policies. I don't have to do any of that. What you have to do is you have to look at what the American people are saying. Let me just take you back to this one thing, of, for, and by the people. You tell me how Senator Thune is actually of, for, and by the people. Tell me how that's even possible. Let's do this. This is CNN that's talking about voter ID. And, by the way, getting rid of mail-in ballots. Very popular. Let's go ahead and play it.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So something of a non.
You should have an ID to have to vote. So popular. You got the SAVE Act that's out there that basically eliminates all the friction that happens with people across the country. It allows for the American people to have a more transparent environment. Now, does this mean we don't get rid of the machines? No, we have to get rid of the machines. We have to get rid of the mail-in ballots. We have to have a voter ID. We've got to clean up the voter rolls, and we got to stop this kabuki theater from happening. And they know. Yesterday, I got a endorsement for governor. I got an endorsement from a governor, for governor, from an unlikely Democrat source, a guy that used to be a gangbanger. Gangbanger, he used to run gangs. True story. I had another phone call from another man that is deep into the community. And I just asked the question, I go, listen, tell me that you actually want all this craziness that's happening in your community. He goes, absolutely not. We talk about it all the time. I was like, then why are these retards out there doing it? And he goes, Joe, they haven't represented us for a long time. I was like, will you go on the record and say that? He goes, maybe. I'll let you go on the record for me and say that. We're at a very difficult place right now. A difficult place. Because we can see it. we can see this grift happening. Senator Thune and the rest of these clowns, this isn't the only problem we face, by the way. This isn't the only problem we face. We have a bigger problem. President Trump has probably 1,000 appointments that since August 2025 have been, they're called recess appointments. So what they have to do is they have to basically stay out, the Senate stays out, because they're on vacation now. But they do these things where they have these meetings every couple days to make sure that it can't go to recess appointments, because what happens at a recess appointment is that President Trump gets to elect all the people that he's put up for, not elect, he gets to appoint all the people that he puts in different positions. We still have a vast majority of our ambassadors in different countries that are Biden ambassadors. You didn't even know that. You didn't know it. President Trump is doing all the things that he can, and his own party, Senator Thune, is working against him. And this ass clown sits here and tells everybody, as we said yesterday, that, hey, don't worry about it, because it's, you know what, I think it's just, I don't think there's that much fraud. Then pass it. Make people show an ID. The American people are saying, pass the damn law. The American people are saying it. We believe in democracy, right? We're not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because Senator Thune gets to stand on the throats of Americans. And if you don't think he's standing on their throat, what else is he doing? Tell me what else he's doing. We go into the midterms and we're able to solve a large percentage of the fraud, not all of it, but a large percentage of it. And this piece of trash, this guy is as bad as, what's the other guy's name? Mr. Walking Corpse. Mitch McConnell. Do you know how absurd this is? You know how absurd it is that we're even having this conversation? The left does not win because of the left. The left wins because the left is embedded in the right. That's why they win. Here's Leach asking if Thune feels pressure to pass the Save America Act. I asked Thune if he feels pressure to pass the Save America Act mounting. A lot of that is, it's this kind of, paid influencer ecosystem. Ads are support among GOP senators, but the process and how do you ultimately try and get a result is still unclear to me. You little faggot, let me tell you something. The American people are sick of you. We're sick of you. We're sick of Mitch walk down the aisle, barely can actually have a conversation, McConnell. We're sick of all of you. All you've done is betrayed the American people. Is there pressure? You act like you're a god. There's only one God. And you stand in the way of it because you're a betrayer. You're a part of the electoral terrorism that has gripped this country. From California to Oregon to Washington to Colorado to what they're doing in Virginia. Texas, we just uncovered massive fraud in the machines. Who knew? Dominion voting system, ES&S, Smartmatic, Liberty Vote, all fraudulent systems built on the back of a fraudulent ability to steal the voice of the people. I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, Constitution Party, Libertarian, it doesn't matter. You don't have a voice. It's all kabuki theater and it's all a lie. So I had to respond to this piece of trash. Thune, you're garbage, man. You're worse than garbage. And the fact that influencers get out there and is like trying to reason with this devil himself. How do you reason with a person that goes against the voice of the people? The people say, listen, pass the SAVE Act. The people say it. Black, brown, yellow, purple. I bet you little cats that identify as cats that are peeing in a litter box, they say pass it. But no, you can't pass it. So here's what I said. Paid influencer ecosystem. No, we're not paid. We have never been paid. We love our country, the country you are betraying and destroying. Truth is, John Thune likes us being slaves. He is a really bad guy. I'll call it what it is. And I'm supposed to go to Washington, by the way. I'm not going to be very popular. I'm going to get phone calls from people that say, Joe, you're going after the Senate leader. He's not a leader. He's a thief in the night. He's a guy that stops President Trump from putting people in positions all over the world that can help influence our policy, our foreign policy. Instead, this piece of trash would rather not let President Trump win and would say, you know what, I think I know better than President Trump. I've been a part of this apparatus for longer. We need to be able to control President Trump, the commander-in-chief. Put it back up, because I don't think I got to the bottom of it. Did I get to the bottom of it? Is that everything I said? I do wonder, though, is it paid influencers that block recess appointments? Oh, that's right. No. It is Thune, the betrayer. Why are the news outlets, why is everyone staying silent on what these people are doing to our country? We have an opportunity to turn it around. I talk about what's happening over in Iran. I don't have enough institutional knowledge to know good, bad, indifferent. I don't have an opinion other than the fact that I stand for humanity. I don't want anybody to die. That's the reality. And you say, Joe, in war, people die. Yeah. And in America, you have this gift that you don't even know about yet. You don't even know about it. This gift where war does not barely touches the shores of America. Barely. We have our 9/11, but look what we did with that. We allowed for radical Islamists to just set up camp all over the country. And I'm not telling you that there aren't good Muslims, because there are good Muslims. And I don't care what you tell me and that you think you have an opinion. I have my opinion, and I was there 6.5 years. I have men that I'd call my brothers, and they're Muslim. And I love the Lord, and I serve Jesus. But there is radical Islamism that is in our country, and we let it happen and spit on the graves of those people that died in 9/11. But then again, there was more people behind that 9/11 now, wasn't there? There's things that we should question. But how did he get elected? How did Thune get elected? Do you know how he got elected? Let's go ahead and put this up. The only reason we did this, but this is Senator Thune elected Senate Majority Leader in secret vote. The only reason they would do it in secret is if they have something to hide. We should have transparency from the people we elected to represent us. This piece of trash. He's trash. Joey's a Republican. I don't care. I don't care. One-eyed shitbag in Texas was a Republican too. Said he was a war hero. I want to punch him in his good eye. How is it that we allow people like this to continue? And you'd say, well, Joe, politics are complicated. I would tell you, no, it's not. See, they used to tell me this when I was over in the Middle East and Africa. They would say, Joe, we can't solve this problem. It's complicated. And I was like, it's not complicated. It's not complicated at all. There's nothing complicated about doing the right thing and saying, you know what, this makes sense. Let's go ahead and get it across the finish line. Let's pass the SAVE Act, get it done. We're incapable of doing everything. And you have people on the left that said, when we regain power, there will be no mercy. They have said this. The devil literally is talking about this right now, which will most certainly lead to a civil war. Most certainly. I can tell you from a Colorado standpoint, we are in pole position to take over every part of government in the state of Colorado if we have free and fair elections. The Democrats will be run out literally as quick as they came into power. They'll be run out just as fast. And Thune knows this. So let me just talk about how Thune is actually slow walking the President Trump. So you have pro forma sessions that block recess appointments. Thune schedules a brief. It's basically a symbolic session every few days during recesses. and keeping the Senate technically in session and preventing President Trump from using constitutional recess appointment powers to fill his cabinet, judicial, and other vacancies without confirmation. He slow walks the confirmation process, and he only processes a limited number of nominees per week, forcing 160, 200, 300 to sit months. And despite the fact that GOP is in control, the Democrats have exploited every procedural delay in order to make sure that they are effectually still in leadership. He refuses full adjournments and concurrent resolutions. He does not push for House Senate agreements to adjourn for longer than 3 days, which is required to trigger recess appointments. He prioritizes old-fashioned confirmations over bold, publicly favored confirmations. Just get it all, get everybody in their place. He slows down executive actions, pushing them into law, like the SAVE Act. He won't confirm conservative judges en masse. He's allowing Democrats to stay in office and positions of power and authority that represent us overseas. And I have a friend who happens to be inside of that whole apparatus that knows one of these ambassadors, and I've said this before. Matter of fact, I know that this to be a fact because there's people in government that I've known when I was over there, and they would say the same thing. They're being told, they're telling their counterpart, "Don't worry about it. We got it handled in the midterms. Everything will be back to normal in a few years." Back on track. This piece of shit Thune is literally standing in the way of the American people's wishes. He is not just a Judas, he is a Brutus. He is stabbing the American people. He's stabbing you at the same time that he's saying all this stuff is supposed to happen. And by the way, the media is silent. It's largely influencers that get paid. Please tell me who's paid me. Tell me. I paid the ultimate price. I decided to run for governor for one reason and one reason only, and that is these idiots out here can't actually talk about what the people actually need. They're too busy talking about the fact that they sit on this perch and they bark down at the slaves below them. The farmers are suffering. Black people are suffering. Brown people are suffering. Inner cities are suffering. Education is a joke. Every road is a tollway. Police officers are blamed for everything while judges act with impunity and do real harm to our communities. Brought it to the core. I haven't even started talking about the fact that business regulations in this country, in this state, have made it untenable for a business to be run. Where they bark down orders and say they're going to come in, where you now have legislation or you have restrictions on your Second Amendment at the federal level. The ATF comes and does things, but now the state gets to come in too and get its bite at the apple. They have designed our entire system around how to be punitive and take from us what was never theirs to take. They have made us slaves. And undoing it, very easy. Just turn off all the valves. Stop entitlements, get rid of NGOs, get rid of these public entitlements that don't require any sort of accountability. And here's President Trump on a hot mic. And look, if you're an influencer out there and you're not talking about this, you're just shit. Then you're probably getting paid the other way. We can turn it around both ways, can't we? If you're not talking about what's happening with Thune and what he's doing to the American people, he is raping the American people. Here's what President Trump had to say.
Hey, Jeff, thank you, Brad. You know I cannot appoint anybody. Huh? I can't appoint anybody. They're unplugged. Everybody I've appointed, their time is expired. And then they're in default. And then we'll lose the case.
There you go. At some point, we are going to have to get... Whoop. At some point, what do we got here? Okay. You know, there's these things that they keep doing. And, you know, everyone says, Joe, every time you talk about things that are directly related to the people. I mean, if you just go back and listen to holistically everything that I've said, it doesn't favor Democrats, doesn't favor Republicans, it favors the people. And we finally have density. And we said, look, let's get this problem off the shelf. And the only people that oppose it are the same globalist pieces of shit that want to steal more money from us, the taxpayers, the citizenry, at the state level and the federal level. I'll be damned the 14th Amendment. Why? Who cares? All they have to do is schedule an extended recess, 2 weeks. Imagine them not having to do anything for 2 weeks. Just it's 10 days. And let President Trump actually do what he needs to do. So I'm asking you right now that if you're actually listening to this right now, here's what I want you to do. Do this for me. Oh yeah, and I just got the you're being censored on every platform talking about Thune. There you go. I'll put this back up. Thune is a traitor. He's a traitor. He's a traitor to the people. Let's stop dancing around the issue. Let's call Senator Thune what he is. He's a majority traitor. He favors the Democrats because he's a traitor. Why is it that we can't just be black and white about things? Well, it's complicated. No, it's not. It's not complicated. You're a traitor. You were selected, not elected. And whatever they have on you, I don't care what they have on you. Deal with it. But we let traitors betray the American people and we sit back and say there's nothing we can do about it, but we can. See, they want to kill off a large portion of America and have this replacement theology that's happening in our country. Foreigners that come here and they have 6, 7, 8 babies. Americans are having less than 2. Why? Because they can't afford it. Because you've taken 56 cents on every dollar. And this piece of shit can't even give us back our vote so we can get our taxes back under control. God forbid we do that. God forbid we do the right thing by the American people. We have a guest that's going to be on with us today. So hit the share button. I want you all to literally, on every social platform, it's Thune the betrayer, the traitor. He's a traitor. He's a traitor to the people. He's a traitor to the process. He's not a betrayer to just the Republicans. He's a betrayer to everything that this country stands for. That when the people say, we want this, you don't have some little piece of trash sit on a hill and say, no. We get to decide how much progress we make in President Trump's administration. We get to decide. We get to take away appointments and stop people from who you got President Trump into office. You're like, here's what we want. And this piece of trash stopped our representatives, our people, from getting in positions where they can do really good things all over the world and set a new standard for what America stands for. And this yo-yo that's happening right now, President Trump comes into office, does great things, everything does well, boom. Biden comes in, the people get punished. Radicalism goes everywhere. They groom your children. People are running away from and feeling held hostage. And now all of a sudden we have President Trump back in right now. He does amazing things in the first 90 days. And then this piece of trash steps out and says, no, we have to stop all of it. That's the reality. And now we're concerned about what's it called? The Epstein files. And you see how far that's gone. And we have the election in 2020 and 2024. President Trump is going to be forced to sign an executive order. They're going to fight that executive order. We're going to have some radical leftist judge. I can just write the script for you. Say that President Trump doesn't have the authority to actually do this and that we're the judges. We get to decide. They're all lawyers, by the way. Lawyers, the fraternity of evil. This shitbags. I'm angry. And if you're not angry and you're upset that I use the word shit, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, we're on a slow boil to the speed bump of tyranny just taking back over again. And they're actually telling us what they're going to do. Adam Schiff said it. Adam Schiff said it, says, when we get back in control, we're going to wipe everything you guys did out. How do you feel about that? If you don't think that let me just put it this way. If you think that these guys are at any point doing what you want them to do, all you have to do is look at the fact that it's the Republicans that are doing it. Not the Democrats. The Democrats are just saying that I appreciate you standing in the way and being controlled opposition, because when we get back into office, we're going to make the people, American people, pay for it. You're going to be punished. Whew, man, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. I want to put this up. Here's Thune confirms no changes to Senate rule. This is March 9th, 2026. Senate Majority Leader John Thune on Monday reiterated that there would be no changes to Senate rules in order to pass a Republican-led election reform bill that President Trump has demanded to be sent to his desk. This guy's a traitor. He's a traitor to everything this country stands for. Everything. This piece of shit is standing on the side of Adam Shippy Shift. And it turns out that we have this thing where John Thune is literally selling access to himself. He's projecting when he said the SAVE Act was an influencer campaign. What is wrong? X, Facebook, every OAN, every single outlet out there should be talking about the fact that this man is a traitor. He is a traitor to the American people. He's a Republican, Joe. I don't care. I could care less. He's a traitor. He's a Gavin Newsom devil. That's what he is. He's not a Republican. He's not even a rhino. He's a betrayer of the people. Go ahead, check this out. Turns out that Thune was totally projecting when he said that the SAVE Act was an influencer campaign. Senator John Thune is compromised to a company that literally exists to sell access to himself. Pass it on. Let's look at this. Go ahead and put those up, though. Punchbowl News sells access to Capitol Hill for corporate clients. The senior Senate reporter is you, Andrew Desiderio. Here's how the access works. Punchbowl has a weekly show called Flyout Day, taped at the Punchbowl News Townhouse and described on their own site as an exclusive first look for premier subscribers. Those premier subscribers are the K Street corporate government affairs staff and trade association officials whose legislative interests depend on Senate leadership decides to schedule or kill. The second ever guest was Senate Majority Leader John Thune, September 11, 2025. This is documented in your own website. Now let's go over your post very carefully. You said Mike Lee primed the GOP base to believe something. That's manipulative framing, the language of a man working in the crowd. But Thune pointed out something that's the language of a man correcting the record, establishing fact. This is not a one-off phrasing choice on your part. Your Punchbowl coverage consistently frames Thune's positions as institutional reality and conservative alternatives as base management. Thune declared that the talking filibuster is dead. Lee and his allies captivated Trump's base. Thune had enough. The SAVE Act push is a self-inflicted wound. These are not neutral verbs. They are a point of view. And it's Thune's point of view delivered with a byline. Here's a structural reason this happens. Jake Sherman describes Punchbowl's business model in his own words on the Rebooting podcast in January 2022. Nearly 90% of the outlet's revenue comes from corporate sponsorships. Trade groups and companies looking to get their public affairs messaging in the front of those making public policy. Sponsors include the Punchbowl include Forma, ExxonMobil, Chevron, Facebook, JP Morgan, Blackstone, American Investment Council, and others. These sponsors need the goodwill of the Senate Majority Leader who controls which of the legislative priorities comes to the floor. Thune controls the floor. Thune sits in Punchbowl's townhouse. You report Thune's framing as conventional wisdom. When Desiderio writes that the talking filibuster will ultimately fail, not might fail, not Thune argues it will fail, But when it ultimately fails, is that journalism? Or is it the view that Thune's fly-out day chair? You're busted. You're busted. These people are traitors. You say what you want. Thune is a traitor to the American people. 70 and 80% of the people come out and say, we want this, and this guy says, sit down, slave. I will let you talk, slave. Punchbowl will decide what happens on the floor of the Senate, not the American people. I mean, did you think that you actually had a voice in this? They can steal elections and lie through the news and say it's the safest, most secure election in U.S. history. You can have people like, I don't know, Bill Barr. There's more. Pompeo. Pence. These are all people that soft words tell you, hey, look, we can just polish ourselves up and say, well, you guys just don't understand. You don't understand. You don't, Mr. Slave, Mrs. Slave, give us your money, slave. While businesses burn to the ground, farmers are forced to put whatever seed we tell them to put in their ground, slave, becoming sharecroppers on their own land. You become a sharecropper on your own land because if you don't pay the taxes on your property you don't own, because you're renting it from the government, they will come snatch it from you quicker than you could bat an eye. I don't see influencers talking about this. I don't see anybody talking about it. And the reason why they don't talk about it, it's pretty clear why they don't talk about it. Let me tell you why they don't talk about it. We have something that's breaking. Oh, we have other senators that are betrayers as well. Well, let's put that up there. This is a leading report on X. Breaking list of GOP senators who are not yet fully on board with passing the Save America Act via standing filibuster per Mark Meadows. So here's some more betrayers, just so we make sure that we understand how many betrayers we have in our country that believe that you're a slave. You are a slave. I just want everyone to understand you're a slave, and what you want does not matter. The fact that you want to put to rest the fact that we have people that are Americans that are voting in our elections and that we want to have free and fair elections, please stop it for a minute so I can read these. John Barrasso from Wyoming. John Boozman from Arizona, or from Arkansas. Shelley Moore Capito from West Virginia. Susan Collins, the name that always, that's from Maine. Tom Cotton, Arkansas. Kevin Kramer, North Dakota. Mike Crapo, Idaho. John Curtis, Utah. Steve Daines, Montana. Deb Fisher from Nebraska. Lindsey Graham, South Carolina. Chuck Grassley from from Iowa, excuse me. John Hoeven from North Dakota. Jim Justice from West Virginia. John Kennedy from Louisiana. James Lankford from Oklahoma. Mitch McConnell from Kentucky. Jerry Moran from Kansas. Lisa Murkowski from Arkansas. Pete Ricketts from Nebraska. Tim Scott from South Carolina. John Thune from South Dakota. Tom Tillis from North Carolina. Roger Wicker from Mississippi. And Todd Young from Indiana. How much you want to bet that we ran all these names against AIPAC and they're all AIPAC? How much you want to bet that we ran this against it and they're all worried that they won't be reelected and that power will be taken from them almost instantly? These are senators that say that they don't give a shit what you say as an American. They get to betray you. They get to betray what the American people are saying that they want by a vast majority. And not only do you have Democrats on the other side that are basically saying we could just kill the filibuster, the American people could be given back something that has never happened. A gift from God that has never happened in the history of the country, we could be given back the ability to self-govern. Imagine that. Imagine if you could self-govern. I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted by it because they get to tell you to sit down, slave, and you just have to take it on the chin. Whew. We have a guest that's going to be on today with us. And I think that you guys are going to want to share this. But Jake Lang is going to be on with us today. And we're gonna get to the bottom of all the stuff having to do with Jake Lang. And now it's a smear campaign against Jake Lang. And Jake Lang, you can like Jake Lang or you can not. You can disagree with him. You can agree with him. You know, I probably wouldn't have run around and taken a Quran and hit it with bacon, right? I see things differently. At the same time, Jake is trying to point out some of the things that are happening in our country that, you know, that we've created this anti-white environment. Now, I think that there's some things that we have to start separating. We have to separate the radical from the non-radical. Is Jake with us? Okay. And I said this to Jake before we came on because he was going on OAN to talk about what happened in New York City. And I said, look, I talk about these people in Colorado. I call them the synagogue of Satan. They're Jewish. They're faithless, godless atheists that call themselves Jews. You can't attack them. You have Polish, you have Weiser, and you have Jenna Griswold. And you have others. The synagogue of Satan, these are demonic individuals that have built a fraternity around the George Soroses of the world. They've literally captured a state by using stolen elections and then telling us, slaves, sit down, we get to take whatever we want. That's why Palantir came to Colorado in 2020. Palantir came here, made it their headquarters from Silicon Valley. And within 6 years, they're like, get the hell out of here, I'm gone. And left in the middle of the night and ended up going down to Florida. That happened. You're going to want to share this. We're going to have a conversation about it. How do we separate people like Mandami? Just trashy people that are some of the most hateful, devilish individuals that say that hate has no place here. Well, they allow Americans to be brutalized. Police officers to get rocks thrown at them during snowstorms. That literally is watching the city deteriorate before your eyes. The city of New York City, I have a friend that lives there right now. He has been there for 25 years. He lives at 5th and Park. And one of the most prestigious areas out there. It's like the financial district. It's really, really nice. He said, Joe, the trash is everywhere. It's unbelievable here. It's everywhere. It's like the city is literally degrading before your eyes. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll just make sure we got Jake jumping on here in a minute. We're going to go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about all these things. All right? We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot.
In every thread, in every stitch, Honor-Bound USA weaves the fabric of the American spirit. It's not just apparel, it's a testament to God, family, and country. At Honor-Bound USA, we're a family of patriots who put our faith, family, and America first. When you visit our website, you'll find a line of products that embody our commitment to pray, stand, speak, and act. As the official site for the Untamed podcast, all of our products proclaim speaking the truth with courage. We also have the powerful documentary from Professor David Clements, Let My People Go. Identify yourself as one of the few who are willing to stand for what they believe in. Join the Honor-Bound USA family today. Wear it as a badge of honor, commitment to the values that shape us, and a pledge to the bright future we will build together. Because when you're honor-bound, you're not just wearing a brand, you're embodying a lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joe, Supreme Leader of DCF Guns. What is DCF Guns, you ask? We're the best damn gun store and range in the universe. Do we have guns? We have all the guns. We got small guns. We got big guns. We even have beastly guns. We offer all types of training, and we have 5 ranges across our 3 locations. I'm a good shot. And of course, we have all types of ammo. We even have flamethrowers. Woo! We offer incredible membership opportunities, and members save even more on guns, ammo, and accessories. Come join the DCF family today, where we keep the range hot and the deals hotter. It's hot.
All right, we're going to move through some stuff and wait for Jake is on OAN right now. So while we're waiting on this, I want to get back to where did it all start? How do I know that it's a manufactured narrative? And the reason why I say that is because manufactured narratives have a way of just kind of creeping up on you. But they start it and they let it roll. And so I want to go back to where it all started for me, so you understand where it started for me. So I'm going to go through this article. This is the Reopen Colorado movement, which I started the Reopen Colorado movement in Colorado, and then it spread to other states, right? So you had a Reopen California and Michigan and all these places. And then Facebook, by the way, put their fingers on the scale of justice and of your voice, and they said they're going to cancel your First Amendment right. And they basically shut down that group for speaking truth. I'm not so sure that I still can't sue them for that. I certainly can for them doing David Beller's dirty work, David Beller being the guy that runs is Coomer's attorney. Let's put this article up. So this is from the IREHR. So let me just tell you what that is. That is it's an organization. It's an organization called. Let me use the name of it real quick. I'll show you how bad this is. Hold that thought. Almost there. It is called the Institute for Research and Education on Human Rights. Okay? Let me read that again. Institute for Research and Education on Human Rights. This is a George Soros deal. At the very bottom of their page, it talks about Black Lives Matter. It writes about anti-Indianism. It writes about the J6 insurrection. They basically just make shit up as they go along. But this one was written by Chuck Tanner. Now, we really don't know who Chuck Tanner is because Chuck Tanner continues to just write articles, and so we're going to reach out to Chuck Tanner because I want to have a conversation with him about some of the things that he's saying about me specifically and what he said about other people. But let me start by reading this to you. This goes back to May of 2020, May 26th of 2020, day before my birthday. And I'm going to read part of this to you. The IREHR continues to track the nature of the ongoing reopen mobilization. It becomes more clear the phenomenon has a firm foot in far-right and nationalist politics. This is true of Reopen Colorado, boasting 24,772 members in its private Facebook group. The group has promoted multiple Reopen events with more on the horizon, including publicly an upcoming May 30th event in Elbert County. On May 21st, Reopen Colorado Administrator Joe Oltmann announced that he just met with over 100 restaurant owners, writing that we have 421 restaurants in the Front Range will open this weekend. He continued that they'll be following guidelines, but they are not going to remain closed through Memorial Day. This is America. In October 2019, Reopen Colorado moderator Brian Rance displayed another aspect of the group's politics, posing for a photo in a Montezuma County Lincoln dinner with Michelle Malkin, conservative pundit, notorious for defending the World War II era internment of Japanese Americans and immigrants of Japanese ancestry. Rance would write of the event, special thanks to Michelle Malkin. By the way, Michelle Malkin was sued with me in this whole thing with the Trump deal. It cost her job, giving me an interview about Eric Coomer. Eric Coomer has done more damage in this country in quelling free speech and hiding the truth than any other single person, and they did it on purpose. They sued every single person that I had an interview with. They sued them all. They didn't sue them for what they said. They sued them for what I said, for speaking the truth. So you could come after me. He should come after me. Have a defamation case. Let's go. But what he did is he tried to go to all those other people and use the media to defame me. This is before then. As of late, Malkin has become better known in her role as a self-declared mommy to the Groyper mobilization led by white nationalists Nick Fuentes and Patrick Casey. See what they did there? They put me in this Groyper deal with Fuentes and everything else. I didn't even know who Fuentes is. I didn't even know what this movement, Groyper, meant. I wasn't involved in politics. Here's what I wanted to do. But you're going to get to that part. I just wanted them to stop treating the people like slaves. Same thing I'm talking about today. My mission has never changed. My mission has never changed. My mission is simple. It's a very simple mission. Of the people, for the people, by the people, give them back the control to the people. Let people decide what the mores of society shall do. Not a bunch of bullies that do this that are funded by radicals from outside of our country that then control the media and get to take this sick and perversion and make it mainstay, where parents have to run away from education environments where kids basically are told that they have to they're property of the state. On January 24, 2020, Brian Rance changed his Facebook cover photo to an image of he and Malkin. The Reopen Colorado leader proudly embraced the Groyper mommy and clutched a copy of her book, Open Border, Inc., a written reflection of the anti-immigrant policies that led to Malkin's alliance with white nationalists. By the time Rance changed his cover photo, Malkin had already been fired from her position with the Young American Foundation over her alliance with Nick Fuentes. About a month later, Malkin would keynote a white nationalist organization, America First Political Action Conference in Washington, D.C. You're not allowed to have an opinion. By the way, just so you know, Michelle Malkin, if you didn't notice, she's not white. She's not white. She's talking about things related to the American ideology that has nothing to do with being white. Brian Rance, who describes himself as a proud constitutional Christian conservative, had in May of 2019 posted and dubbed important a message from Candace Owens concerning her ban on Facebook. By the time Owens had been pressed into resigning from the reactionary Turning Point USA after publicly declaring that Adolf Hitler's nationalist policies may have been acceptable, he had not spread them beyond Germany's borders. To boot, Rance noted a meme defending voter ID laws shown to discriminate against seniors, low-income voters. See, here it comes. Here it comes. People of color, students, and people with disabilities. Rance posted another meme implying a religious litmus test for holding public office in the United States. This is where it gets interesting, though. Now, I'm taking you back 6 years so you understand where it started for me. I was much younger then. To say that the last 6 years has taken its toll on me would be an understatement. Reopen Colorado Administrator Joe Oltmann has revealed himself a budding conspiracy theorist, spreading the idea that the deep state of backroom conspirators control a broad swath of American politics, ranging from congressional candidates running for office multiple times to a weaponized media that has become pawns for the stupid to follow. There's a picture of me. Playing on long-standing ideas with roots in anti-Semitism. So now I'm self-loathing. Such conspiracy theories reduce complex political and economic relations and actions to the machinations of an invisible elite. Oltmann, for instance, writing that we can see the deep state, but the deep state sees us. Across a variety of politicals at play in the reopen mobilization conspiracy theories also emerge as reactionary attacks on efforts to address societal inequalities. For instance, Oltmann argues that while the deep state causes the police to not be taken into account in certain instances, it creates an outcome where also the issue of lack of accountability becomes the boogeyman that every police officer is out to kill each of us, but more specifically minorities. And this is something that I said, I guess I said this in that post. We pay taxes, lots of them, while the deep state says we don't pay enough. They need more for our children, for the homeless, for the infrastructure, for our education. That is, for Oltmann, a historic lineage of secret handshakes and backdoor room conversations produce things that concern over police violence against African Americans, raises by groups like Black Lives Matter, and policies enacted through a public process to raise funds to address issues affecting children, homelessness, infrastructure decay, and education. This is what they were writing about me in May of 2020. Now keep in mind, the only thing that I tried to do is reopen Colorado. And this led to me understanding things that they were doing inside the schools. Parents were petrified of what they were hearing on the screen from teachers. Six years ago, I said this. Given Oltmann's vision of secret powers lurking behind the American politics, have we not discovered that now? Have we not gotten to the place where this is true? It is a little surprised that he appears to promote the idea of a pending civil war fought amongst some militia advocates, commenting on an article about Virginia Governor Ralph Northam's declaration of a state of emergency and the ban on firearms at the state capitol in the face of threats of violence amidst a January militia mobilization. I responded, I told you, Virginia is where the Civil War ended. Make no mistake, that's where it will start. The saying, don't mess with Texas, can hold a candle to the people of Virginia. Keep it frosty, my friends. To top off his conspiratorial leanings, Oltmann also appeared to oppose a minimum wage, commenting on fast food bill that he deemed too high. So much for concern about essential workers. See, people don't understand, these people don't understand economics, basic economics. And as you go through here, you see the same thing being said over and over and over and over again. And those things over and over and over again were before me, by the way. They're before me. Like I was not involved in politics in 2019. I was doing business. Everyone is a racist. Everyone is an anti-Semite. Everyone. If you don't agree and fall in line with their bullshit. Let's call it what it is. It's bullshit. He'll be in a second. I think he'll be in a second. He'll be fine. Let's look at this real quick if we can. This is every single House Democrat, besides one in Colorado, voted against an amendment which would define a woman as someone having XX chromosomes. Put it up. Democrats hate women. They can't even describe what a woman is. Look, if you have free and fair elections, you don't have this nonsense. You have 42 people that said no. No, we can't define what a woman is. And you have Erin in Colorado fighting every day. She puts a video out to respond to the lunacy in Colorado. I want you to see this. Play it. Cut 3.
Today is March 9th, 2026, and Colorado Democrats still don't know what a woman is. Today, all the Democrats conspired behind conservatives' backs to run an International Women's Day resolution appreciating women. They invited up men who talk about their penis size, who pretend to be women for this resolution, but left out every single conservative and Republican woman. They then ignored mothers and wives. They then rejected an amendment that would actually define woman, that would just specify XXXY. They denied that. They slipped in abortion. They slipped in women of color, every woke virtue signal they possibly could. Not surprising, but just, okay. I promise, give me like 3 to 4 minutes of your time. Seeing clips from this morning is worth it.
I would like to ask all our women to come into the well, please.
Every year, this resolution has been bipartisan. That is why many of us on my side of the aisle are disappointed to see how this resolution was brought forward. At no point were Republican women approached to sponsor this resolution. At no point were we asked for our input. At no point did any of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle approach the Republican women serving in this chamber to have a conversation.
Why is Title IX not in this resolution? It seems grossly missing. But we'll have a chance later. I will be reading this later today, and we'll have a chance to fix that.
That what we're talking about is whereas woman means an adult female who is biologically distinguished by being chromosomally homogametic, XX, consistent with the genetic characteristics associated with the female sex in human biology. It's purely a biologic marker. It's purely for setting a standard that we can go forward so that the women, the females, the adult human persons in our life can be protected, can feel secure, can know that they are valued. So I ask for an aye vote.
And as we go in to have this conversation with Jake Lang, because he's on with us now, I'm going to play this first before I bring him on. They have something happening in Israel. And if you're not conflicted, by the way, with what I'm about to show you, then you're not paying attention. This is a bill to ban Christianity in Israel and make it an illegal offense to promote Christianity by word, internet, or by the media, or by email. Punishable by imprisonment for up to 2 years. So why are we allies with a country that does this? And look, there are lots of people in other countries that are sanctioned nations, where I've had great conversations with good people in those nations. But this is the one that we're over there fighting Iran with. Make it make sense of what these talons are when you got Thune betraying the people. He's a complete betrayer of the people. He's a traitor to the American people. And by the way, there's tons of other senators that are betrayers as well. They think you're a stupid slave. But I want you to see this. They want to ban Christians. And this is our ally? Play it.
Conservative Christian leaders are calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to stop a bill proposed by members of his coalition to make it criminal to tell people about Jesus in Israel. Our Jerusalem correspondent Daniel Cohen is live near Tel Aviv with more. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Allison. Good morning, everyone. A big story just before, days before Palm Sunday, Good Friday, and Easter. Sacred time for Christians. Two ultra-Orthodox members of Prime Minister Netanyahu's coalition have introduced a bill that would punish believers for sharing the gospel of Jesus with prison time. United Torah Judaism Knesset members Moshe Gafni and Yaakov Asher introduced legislation last week making it illegal to share in conversation or produce content online, in print, or by mail. Their explanation of the bill emphasizes a warning to stop Christians in particular. The punishment, 1 year in prison or 2 years for sharing with someone under the age of 18. Joel Rosenberg is the host of the Rosenberg Report and editor-in-chief of All Israel News. He's also a Jewish follower of Jesus.
Obviously, Jewish people don't agree with Christians, evangelicals or others, about who Jesus is, right? We all know that there's a theological difference, but evangelical Christians and other Christians have been so supportive of Israel and the Jewish people. So to silence, to muzzle, and gag even Israelis like myself and others to say you can't talk to another person about your faith and why you believe it, that is terrible. That is not freedom.
Although he doesn't agree theologically, Netanyahu has always been a strong friend of evangelicals, speaking at meetings and believing freedom of speech and freedom for Israel's small Christian community should be protected. Now, should this bill gain traction, it could spark a serious clash with the 60 million evangelicals in the United States and 600 million around the world. Gafni first introduced a ban on evangelism in 1999. It went nowhere. United Torah Judaism is in a stronger negotiating position now, though, since Netanyahu needs to keep the party in his coalition, or it could threaten Netanyahu's ability to remain in power. Allison, back to you.
We're going to take that into what's happening to Jake. And I want to preface this that Jake is a controversial guy. He's gone all over the country. He went to Minnesota, got arrested there. I mean, he's willing to put himself out there. He's been arrested. He spent the better part of 4 years in a cell, and he put something out. He says, nobody will interview me, and I'm like, I'll interview you. I mean, I have a governor's race that I'm in the middle of. I'll still interview you. I want to show you this. This is a bomb was thrown at Jake during a protest in New York City. Let's play that first, and then we'll bring Jake in.
Look at it. Support the white liberal women. They're killing you. Whoa. 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 What the fuck? That was a fucking bomb. Was it? Like a fucking bomb, bro. That's a nail bomb. Jesus. What the fuck?
I didn't sign up for this.
Holy fuck. Yeah, that was a nail bomb. Yo, Jay. Jesus is king. And he made it that nail bomb didn't go off. Jesus is king. Thank you, Lord God. Thank you, Lord God. What just happened?
Jake, welcome to the show.
Joe, my brother, it's a miracle I'm here to talk to you, not from a ventilator in a hospital, if not worse, completely eviscerated. That bomb, the explosive material inside it, it's called Mother of Satan. It's the same material that ISIS and Muslim terrorists have used to blow up over 40, 50 casualties in different attacks in Paris and Manchester, in Europe. And I'm 100% certain that God intervened because he has a calling on my life. He's a calling on this Crusader movement, and he's not done using me yet. And if he was done using me, I would have been gone like that. that bomb landed 3 feet in front of my face, and I saw my life flash before my eyes, and I immediately acknowledged the Lord Jesus' hand in just saving me from immediate and instant death.
Jake, you have been pretty outspoken over, well, I don't think it's stopped in the last 6 years. And you've turned your focus from J6 to this this pro-white movement, right? And so explain that to me. I mean, we already know that you're friends with black people, you're friends with all sorts of races, but you have this pro-white movement. Now they've tried to frame you as a white supremacist. Are you a white supremacist?
No, according to Zohar Mandami, my alleged white supremacy was the reason why Muslims threw a nail bomb at me, and therefore my ideas of wanting America to remain as the founding fathers framed it for their posterity, a white Christian country, not for third world invaders, Sikhs and Hindus and Muslims. They framed our Constitution to remain a country of European heritage and ancestry, built and surrounded by the love of God and the gospel of Jesus Christ. And we're being replaced. It's the death of a heritage we're seeing worldwide. In 1900, 30% of the world was white. I'm hearing some static as well, but as long as you can hear me, I'll speak over it. In 1900, the world was 30% white. Now, flash forward 125 years, it's down to 7%. And so we are literally living in an existential crisis. England is being taken over. Ireland is being taken over. Australia is being taken over. And so who is there to advocate for white people? I was born in New York. That makes me a home team rooter supporter of the Yankees. I was born as a white man in America. That makes me a pro-white supporter of my people. I don't have hate in my heart for anybody, but I will be the last person to allow the weakness that has infected society, especially in masculinity. White men are bowing down and allowing this tolerance, this social virtue signaling to literally drag them over the cliff into extinction. And I have a different approach than that. Instead of being a low testosterone soy boy whining about all the black guys are taking the white girls and our populations are disappearing, I took the opposite approach. I said, let me go out in the streets of America and say, America is a white Christian country. It's not only for white people, but it is unequivocally a verifiable fact that the majority of people in America are white and Christian. And flashback 50 years ago, it was over 90%. Now we're down in just 50 years to less than 60%. Give it another 50 years, and we're going to be down into the 10s and 20%. It'll be an unrecognizable nation with no shared heritage. So I fight for my people, and I'm proud to be a white American man.
So let's take it back a little bit, because I think one of the things that you've pushed on is this radical Islam that has taken over. And I want to play this for you. This is Mandami talking about that he blamed white supremacy on the reason why you had a bomb thrown at you. Let's go ahead and play it, and then I'll get your thoughts on it.
This was a vile protest rooted in white supremacy entitled Stop the Islamic Takeover of New York City. I'm the first Muslim mayor of our city. Anti-Muslim bigotry is nothing new to me, nor is it anything new for the 1 million or so Muslim New Yorkers who know this city as our home. While I found this protest appalling, I will not waver in my belief that it should be allowed to happen. Ours is a free society where the right to peaceful protest is sacred. It does not belong only to those we agree with. It belongs to everyone. I will defend that right every day that I am mayor, even when those protesting say things that I abhor. Let me also be clear about something else. New York City will never tolerate violence, whether from protests or counter-protests. Many of the counter-protesters met this display of bigotry peacefully, with a vision of a city that is welcoming to all. But a few did not. Two men, Amir Balat and Ibrahim Kayumi, traveled from Pennsylvania and attempted to bring violence to New York City. They are suspected of coming here to commit an act of terrorism. There is video of these two individuals throwing two devices towards the protest. The police department has determined that these were improvised explosive devices made to injure, maim, or worse. Thanks to the swift and decisive actions of NYPD officers at the scene, Both men were immediately taken into custody, and the devices they brought taken off of our streets. I want to commend the officers who were on site.
Nowhere there did he ever mention the religious ideology, the fanaticism that is taught in the Quran, because he is also a Muslim himself. Nowhere did he say terrorism was their main goal. He kept calling these devices, these bombs, devices. All of this was a psyop. And if you didn't know what actually transpired, Joe, the statements that were made by the media and his first statement that has like 30 million views on X would imply that the right-wing conservative white Christians planted a bomb outside the mayor's home. That's what the official narrative was. If it wasn't for journalists like yourself and all of the people on X that were able to hear directly from me and other independent journalists, the entire apparatus, CNN, NBC, everybody had run a psychological operation to try to make sure that everyone in the world thinks that Trump-supporting white Christians tried to bomb the Muslim mayor's home, when it was the complete opposite. During a peaceful Christian protest, Muslims threw bombs at white Christians in New York outside the mayor's home. Within the first 2 months of Zoran Mandami's tenure, the first Muslim mayor, Muslims are now openly, these guys didn't wear face masks, they didn't have an exfiltration plan, they didn't care. They have been openly, throwing up the ISIS symbol. These people are emboldened by Zoran Mandami, and they think it's open season on white Christians. That's why I'm pro-white, because you're not allowed to be.
Do you think, and this is something to consider, do you think that these two people that threw these bombs, do you think they'll be let go eventually? Do you think that the ultimate goal will be just to let them back out on the street?
Well, for sure, if DA Alvin Bragg in New York City and the New York City revolving door, cashless bail system was the ones dealing with this criminal case, undoubtedly, I would say they would be, because the devices didn't go off, the bombs, these terrible nail bombs, they would have been, basically routed through some type of divertment program, and they would have been back on the street almost immediately. I can guarantee you that. But the DOJ stepped in and charged them with terrorism. I think these people are going to see a long time in prison. And I also think the investigation that is now underway has also found another storage locker with more bombs. And there's 7 other people that they've taken into custody. Joe, I think we broke open an ISIS terror cell that Joe Biden's open border policy just welcomed right into our country. So I think that we have found the beginning of many terror cells. I hope that FBI Director Kash Patel and Pam Bondi don't fumble this. They do have my confidence. They'll take care of this. I wish they would not just focus on Muslim extremists that are bombing people and also focus on the Democrats who are enabling this terrorism and start locking up those who stole the election and did the COVID scam and did the January 6th scam. So I'm not satisfied, but I think that they're doing a superb job with this investigation. They're moving quicker than I've ever seen them move. They're already inside the terrorist houses.
Of course, it's not an election, so it doesn't restore the voice of the people. So sure, they can move quickly on this, while they move as slow as possible on getting to the bottom of all the things that we're dealing with related to the stolen election system. But I want to also say this: you were going to have a press conference this morning. And they instructed the New York City Police Department to stop you from entering the press conference this morning. Is that correct?
Well, I was the intended victim of this bombing, and I had every right to attend Zoran Mandami's press conference. It was the first time that video clip he just played. So I went back to Gracie Mansion. It was one day later. And I wanted to address the mayor why he failed to name in his first statement. He wouldn't even say these terrorist names. He said the first sentence, he said, Jake Lang, white supremacist, then went on this whole entire rant and this, therapy session about me. He didn't call them Muslim, didn't name their names, didn't call them terrorists. So I wanted to go question him mano a mano. And the NYPD was instructed to keep me away from Gracie Mansion. So that's why you hear a little hoarseness in my voice, because I made sure he heard me, and I was screaming into the press conference from outside Gracie Mansion.
All right. So let me play this. This is them keeping you from there. Let's play the cut 3.
Do not touch. Zoran Montamed is complicit with a near assassination attempt and murder of dozens of New York.
So you were screaming a little bit.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I have every right to be. I'm born and raised New Yorker, wrestled at Hunter College. I have every right to be on public property, Gracie Mansion, and address the mayor, especially because I was the intended victim of this assassination attempt, and he is too chicken shit coward to face me because he knows that the principles that I'm standing for are righteous. And when it comes time to debate, when it comes time to talk like men, that he does not have a foot to stand on, because it is his religious ideology that was the one throwing the bombs. And it was our protest literally calling out Islamic extremism taking over America. What do? They throw a bomb at me as I'm telling them these people can't be trusted, they're unsafe, they don't assimilate, they throw bombs, they throw a bomb at me. He doesn't want that to be the topic of discussion. He wants to, just like the media, glaze over the fact that, the media, CNN had to retract an article they posted on X today where they were saying 2 teenagers left their homes in Pennsylvania to go enjoy a sunny day. I'm not even kidding. CNN literally tweeted this today and they had to delete it and made a whole entire post retracting it. They said 2 teenagers left their home to enjoy a sunny day in the city when everything changed, and literally just like completely tried to make a romantic story out of these 2 bombers. And so did Zoran Montamed. So we are dealing with light versus darkness, good versus evil, Christianity versus Islam. And that's what I see. And to segue to the next topic, because I saw you played the Israel clip, which is appalling to me, by the way. But the way that I see the Iran war is much different than other people because I'm a frontline activist in this fight against Islam. I see it really, for me, as the most dominant Christian force in the world, America, is obliterating the Islamic regime and showing dominance and showing that Christianity is still a wartime, freedom-fighting, God-loving religion that won't back down. So on the global stage, although Islam is invading Europe and many places in America like Dearborn, like Minneapolis have been taken over by Somalis and Muslims, we are still not afraid to take it to the front door of these terrorists and lay down the law. So I see American dominance over Islam in the Middle East and the war as a really good thing. Of course, foreign interventionism and, kind of doing the bidding for Israel has not really panned out well for the Americans over the last 30, 40 years in the Middle East. But that being said, right now, we are in a war against Islam. And one of the strongest ways that we can signal that we're not afraid of these people is by the operation that President Trump surgically did by destroying the Ayatollah and all these radical jihadis. We are sending the signal the West is not ready to roll over and back down to Islam. We've still got a little bit of spinal column left, and that's why I like to see that. But that clip you showed of Israel was abhorrent to me, but I still think it's a psyop to make us turn all against the great American patriotic Jewish people that are here, that support our country and love our country and fight for our country. So we can't fall victim just because Israeli's deep state and the Israeli deep state has invaded the banking system, the Hollywood regime, all of these different propaganda
So
networks.
the synagogue of Satan is what you're talking
The
about.
synagogue of Satan, the deep state of Israel, same thing. Just because they've invaded certain facets and we need to rout them out of there and replace those people with Christians.
Big facets.
The most powerful power structures in the world. Because they've invaded those places, we need to crusade those places. But we cannot forget Ashkenazi Jews like my mother and like Jack Hughes, who scored the gold medal winning goal for the hockey team, and amazing American patriots that are white Jewish people like myself on my mother's side. Are real patriots who will fight and die for this country, who share the same values, and who love this country like every real American does. So we cannot throw the baby away with the bathwater there. I condemn the deep state of Israel, whatever repulsive shit you just showed me. I'm ready to crusade the hell out of that, okay? You're not
Okay,
going to
so-
stop me from preaching Jesus in Jerusalem. I'll tell you what.
All
I'll
right,
tell you
so-
what, Joe. You're not stopping us from preaching Jesus in Jerusalem.
Okay, Jake, I got a couple more things I need to do. I want to remind people this is what happened to you. Put it up next to us if you would. But this is in, and you could pull the volume off. This is Jake being pulled in the crowd during the protest in Minnesota. So now you've had a bomb thrown at you. You've been pulled into protest in Minnesota. You've gone all over the country. You have sent me a couple of invites to say, hey, come out and join me in this deal. I am running for governor in Colorado. Got a lot of stuff going on. But let's go ahead and put that up if we can. Can we put it up next to us? Okay, that's not what I asked Jake, what was going through your mind at that moment? You put yourself in some of the weirdest positions, and that was definitely one of the most. You got hit in the head. You got to get stitches in your head. What were you thinking?
Well, first you have to acknowledge, obviously, that there were some black guys and Muslim guys there that were trying to be the good Samaritans and lower the temperature and escort me out, which I'm very grateful. I think that those people maybe even saved my life that day, and that's very likely, and God bless them. On the same token, though, it was a crowd of illegal immigrants trying to lynch me for telling ICE to send them home. And some of the people that were escorting me out of the crowd ended up pickpocketing me, assaulting me. And so it was like it was a friggin' hodgepodge. Everyone in the world was punching me in the face. People were kicking me in the shins. I had men in my pockets trying to steal my wallet, my phone, my watch got stolen, my Jesus Christ cross got stolen, my plate carrier stolen, my speaker was stolen, my microphone was stolen. The only thing I left there was with my dignity and my life, okay? Because we will stand against these people. And that's what happens. I was punched in the face in Dearborn. Everyone saw that by that skinny Muslim kid. I was lynched in Minneapolis. I had a bomb thrown at me in New York. If this is that signal to the average American out there, you do not have a First Amendment right. Right now, there are terrorists. There are Antifa and illegal invader terrorists that will coerce you, threaten you, assault you, punch you, stab you, and throw bombs at you in order to stop you from speaking out against your own replacement. You don't have a First Amendment right now. We are living in very tough times, and it takes men with balls and courage to fix the place that we're in right now. And that's what the Crusaders are doing. We are airing out the dirty laundry of the Democrats, and they are now on the ropes. Zoran Mandami's political future is looking like very dim and dark, maybe even over after the first Muslim mayor having Muslims attack white Christians.
Let me talk about what you just said related to New York City. I had a friend of mine that called me, lived 25 years at Park in Fifth Avenue, right? Very prestigious part. He said, Joe, the trash is everywhere. The city is literally as disgusting as I've ever seen it. Are you experiencing that same thing in New York City?
I mean, from the visuals of the trash everywhere, yes. The professionalism of the NYPD, though, cannot be understated. They saved my life, getting me into the protest and getting me out.
I'm just talking about Mandami running the city and what's happening in the city from the standpoint of...
To the NYPD, and yes, Mandami, the NYPD officers that I spoke to in private throughout that day and the next day, because I went and met up with Nick Shirley, and like literally a contingency of 40 officers was following me and Nick around because they thought there was going to be another riot, literally just people showing up to riot against us. And there's a green light on my head from Antifa. They have shoot to kill orders on me wherever they see me. So the NYPD know that. They see the chats. They hear the chatter online. And they're disgusted that Zoran Mandami wouldn't say that they were these terrorists tried to assassinate not just the white Christians that were there, but also one of the bombs was dropped at the feet of the NYPD because they were like closing in on the man as he was lighting the second bomb. And he attempted to assassinate a dozen of NYPD officers. And the mayor doesn't even have the balls or the dignity or the honor to name the name of the terrorist who tried to murder dozens of his officers. They're sick. They know that this mayor is a defund the police, leftist anarchist, and all of their jobs are on the line. They can't ever arrest anybody. Basically, if they do a self-defense shooting, these cops know they're going away to jail for life. So they've really disenfranchised themselves. And the overall culture and the trust around the real institutions of New York City, like the police officers, the firefighters, they are like, we know this mayor doesn't like us, and all of us are in jeopardy and danger under his leadership. So it's really a tragic scenario.
Okay, so I want to show you this. I'm going to take you back in history to the Capitol police officers. I want to give you an update there. And then I'm going to go to a quick commercial break so I can ask you if I can have you clear something else up that just came up on X. And I want to be able to address those issues as well. But
I just addressed that issue live with Dan Ballswell. And, this is a complete hoax. The Groypers, they want to keep the topic of conversation on Israel. And because the whole entire world's talking about Islam right now, I had a complete phishing hoax that they targeted me with. And obviously nothing came about of it. But, the propaganda machine to basically shut me down and keep Israel top of mind is fighting.
I've known that you have a group of people that run your socials and everything else, which is why it seemed a little odd. I've had enough conversations with you that I know how you talk and how you don't talk. I was looking at these text messages that came back, and that basically a honeypot of a 15-year-old or 16-year-old kid. I don't even know. I saw it came across, and I was like, I know Jake doesn't talk like that, but can you tell me, like, are these manufactured, or what are we talking about here?
So the phishing hoax, we were doing a bikini and burqa march that we were recruiting for. Remember, we had announced in Tampa, Florida, that we were going to do one in February. And so I told my team, which is from overseas, and they're from India, well, actually Pakistan. I have one or two Indian guys, but most of the guys that actually handle social media are Filipino and Pakistani. And I told them, everybody, all the women that you can find, we need to invite them out. So the first message that my team sent was, are you coming to our next protest? Then we went through this whole entire conversation. They said that they were underage. We said, you can't come. We can't be seen with you. So that's where the conversation ended. They tried to spin it into some inappropriate narrative, but it was 100% hoax. The pictures that they were using are of a 25, 30-year-old woman. So the whole entire thing was a hoax. And, honestly, this is the exact type of psychological operation that they target, public figures like me to try to pull the narrative away from the topics I'm discussing and bring it back towards what they want. And all of this was triggered by a 10-minute rant yesterday. Nick Fuentes literally lost his mind on me. It was like an ex-girlfriend that was scorned. He said, Jake is a fat, ugly, disgusting Jewish pig. And he just went on and on, like literally for 10 minutes. And then as soon as the Groyper army was activated, they hit this hoax phishing scam on my team. We immediately identified it as a hoax phishing scam. We stopped conversation with the Fisher as soon as they said they're underage, and nothing came of it. But these people really want to destroy me because our platform has grown so strong that we are literally, everybody, there's like 4 or 5 Congress people that followed me in the last couple days. They're all talking about banning Islam. And we're really, we're making headway. But the Fuentes crowd and Dan Balzerian attacked me, Jake Shields, Fuentes, all these people that are hyper obsessed with hating Israel, but for some reason they have no opinion on when 2 Muslims throw a bomb at me in New York. They basically launched a psychological operation to take me down. But the number one foremost expert in the world on this type of phishing scam and how people, catch pedophiles was Alex Rosen. His name is I Fight for Kids. And he has received all of the data. He called me today. We have a text message string that I've shared publicly online. And Alex Rosen has cleared it and saying, this is obviously complete hoax. Jake has no wrongdoing here. So I appreciate, all my supporters that are willing to look at the data instead of the headlines, because we didn't do anything wrong. And I wouldn't do anything wrong because we're fighting for our country. We're fighting for Christian values. And that goes against everything I stand for.
Yeah. So just so everyone's aware, I was going to go offline to ask him the question about this specifically because I did not It just literally showed up in my inbox while I'm actually having the conversation with you, and so I don't believe in guerrilla journalism per se, but I wanted the question answered, and I've communicated with Jake enough times that I know when I'm talking to him and I know when I'm talking to somebody else.
Oh yeah, dude. Joe knows. Well, I had to hire this team. Because I had been locked up behind bars for so long. I have 4 or 5 assistants that manage, and they're young guys over there in the Philippines, and they're looking for participants for my bikini march. And they sent these messages, and people screenshot it and said Jake Lang's fishing after some young person. But as soon as my team had identified this person was underage, we stopped communications, and nothing inappropriate said. Nothing other than coming to a protest was ever discussed. So it was a complete psychological operation. There was never any discussions outside of, hey, are you coming to the next protest? Yes, this, that. So they failed. They tried to take me down with some type of targeted phishing, and my team identified it, and we deterred this attack from ever, really actually becoming anything that was serious.
So can I go back to, I'll finish up with this. I want to talk a little bit about J6 and going back to J6 on this specifically. And Jake, you and I almost got into it over you came at me, and I was like, I'm
not your friend, at least if I don't ever curse you out at least once or twice. That's what my best friends. I get vicious sometimes. I don't know. I get that jailhouse kind of fight or flight in me.
Yeah, and we were able to get back to a place where because I was pissed. I don't get pissed. Like I felt, but then I understood where you were coming from too, because of the things you were doing with Blessed News Network and Matt and the relationship you had with him. And then I got in the middle of it too, but I love to fight. So I was like, all right, let's do let's you called me an old man. I was like, let me tell you something.
Those are fighting words for Joe. I know that. That's
100%. Yeah, 100%. But this all goes back to J6. And talking about January 6th, we had people that were J6ers that lost their life. They committed suicide. We had one in particular that was raped inside of the jail. And this was a man that was raped inside the jail. And this is a story that I don't know if you know about, but I'm going to bring it up. One of the Capitol police officers who was honored in the J6 plaque at the Capitol was just indicted on 9 counts, felony charges, including rape and sodomy. So Timothy Valentine would allegedly meet women on dating apps, schedule dates, drug them, and then sexually assault them.
Oof.
So, Jake, what do you think when you think about what these people have done on Jan 6? The beatings. There was, and yes, I think there's some good police officers that were protecting a lot of the J6ers. Matter of fact, I have a friend that is a police officer in D.C., he's a Capitol police officer. And we used to sell drugs together as kids. so
I think you told me about that one.
I laugh about this a little bit, but he's like, Joe, the amount of times that I had to protect J6ers from these bad police officers, he goes, it was all the time. I couldn't leave them alone with them. But now that you see this, what does it make you feel? What does it read? You go back and say,
first of all, that's abhorrent that this Capitol police officer, somebody trusted with public safety, would abuse that trust and rape, date rape women. Basically, that's abhorrent. And we know that your average Capitol police officer is not like a kind of Republican, family-minded conservative. They're part of the swamp, and they hate Trump supporters. And they took their rage and their anger out with us and brutalized dozens of us, hundreds of us were injured. So we know that their basic default setting is they're Democrats and they hate Trump supporters. And on January 6th, they were put in a position where they could have carte blanche, a way to abuse us. And many officers were actually caught on body camera talking about Trump supporters, racists, these racist white Trump supporters are coming in from the flyover states, and we can't wait to get some and get our hands on them. So, we love the police and we back the blue, but the police from the Capitol Police are really part of they're Nancy Pelosi's personal stormtroopers. That's how Julie Kelly, that's how Kara Castronova, that's how all of the journalists had actually, described them, because they were following unlawful orders by Jason Bagshaw to shoot munitions into a peaceful crowd. They were sniping people from an aerial position with rubber bullets. Joshua Black had one ripped through his face. There was blood and gore everywhere. And so it takes a certain type of, a malicious intended person to just see a crowd of old ladies and, people waving flags. It was very peaceful, Christian, people were singing hymns, and just start firing tear gas or rubber bullets and concussion grenades into that. So we have to always question the culture of the Capitol Police. And this proves that the culture there obviously is not like your local sheriff's office is going to come get your cat out of a tree. These people are basically radicalized Antifa, like Officer Fanone, who's got Antifa tattoos all up and down his arm. And, they assaulted and brutalized and then went on the stand and lied, like Harry Dunn, about the Oath Keepers purposely to convict Trump supporters. They lied about what they saw. So we're really dealing with a lot of people that were malicious. But on that same note, there are hundreds and even thousands of Capitol Police officers, and we saw them that day. Some of them wore a MAGA hat. Some of them were taking selfies with the crowd. So you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. But the police culture in D.C. is really, really liberal, and they hate. And you just saw them arrest me again at a peaceful First Amendment protest because I threatened Officer Jason Bagshaw, who brutalized Victoria White. And anybody who hasn't seen that video, inside the tunnel that all the real main violence in the clashes happened, Officer Bagshaw was seen brutalizing a 5'3" woman named Victoria White with a metal baton. Her arms were stuck at her side because she was in a crowd. And basically it was just her face exposed. And this 6'2" hulking man is just raining down on her with a metal baton. He disconfigured her face. She almost died. And when you see that video, you can understand that the culture of the Capitol Police is really not bent towards good police work, but more enforcing Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats' agenda at any means necessary. So I pray and I hope that this man that is charged with these crimes is swiftly convicted and he doesn't get any of these sweetheart deals that they offer criminals in D.C., that he's dealt with according to the strictest and swiftest punishment.
Amen. Amen to that. Amen to that. I just got done talking about Senator Thune, who basically is blocking all the recess appointments.
That's when I was there. That's when I was there. I was protesting when I got arrested like 2 weeks ago in D.C. I was doing what's called kill the filibuster protest. And we were talking about just basically getting the SAVE Act through because we can't have any more stolen elections, illegals voting. We know we need more than the SAVE Act because the voting systems themselves are completely faulty and rigged and they're easily penetrable. But the SAVE Act is necessary if we want to win the midterm. So I was out there protesting John Thune and the feckless, spineless, jellyfish, rhino, country club Republicans that refuse to secure our elections. And so that's why, really, I was arrested by Officer Bagshaw. They didn't like me out there saying, pass the SAVE Act, stop illegals from voting.
Are you on a mission to get arrested in all 50 states and just have something going on in all 50 states? I'm just asking the question because it just keeps happening.
If the Guinness World Record doesn't have it, then, just maybe I'll take it. But no, I really want to have a smooth, after going through years of solitary confinement, over 1,467 days in prison, there's nothing more than I kind of want to just fade away into like normal civic life. But I also have to juggle that because I gave so much, I sacrificed so much, I went through so much struggle already for this country during those 4 years. And I had all these podcasts that you brought me on and other people. I mean, Joe, I was on your podcast like once a week. I'm in that gulag, devising different ways to get my voice out. And I worked my ass off for that. And now I just want to enjoy my life. But I believe that God called me out of that gulag for a very specific purpose. And I intend to find what that purpose is in all 50 states, standing with our Crusader helmets on, fighting the good fight against these invaders, because I do believe God wants to use me, and he saved my life just a couple days ago because he's not done using me yet, Joe, and I want to continue to fight for his glory and his kingdom.
Yeah, I appreciate all the work that you've done, even through it, even when the times that I wanted to literally, I prayed you'd show up here so we could actually just settle it like men. And then the reconciling, right? And understanding it. There's some people that say that you're not authentic, and I say, I think the problem with Jake is that he's as reckless with his own life as any human being could probably be. And, you know, to that, you know, I commend you for it, because to actually affect change, you have to do those things. Now, do I agree with everything that you say? No, right? I don't. But I don't have to. I just have to agree with the principles that we should not have radicalism and radical Islam inside of our country, period. And we should not be secondhand citizens in our own country, whether you're black or white. Americans should not be second to a replacement theology, which is what we have inside this country. That replacement theology is on immigration, not on America first. So anything that pushes America first and takes care of, you know, the 40% of, I think, of our country that is invisible, and in large part, these are black and brown people that have been here for generations, right? But we can't forget about white people. We can't have this whole thing where we're all bad and they're good, and while these crimes are being committed, and we're handing out entitlements by the hundreds of billions of dollars around the country, while watching Americans suffer at 56 cents on every dollar.
To add to that, Joe, the most prime and poignant example I could ever give, the two terrorists, guess what? They're anchor babies. Their families, their parents are from Turkey and from Afghanistan. Those migrants came here and they were naturalized here. They opened up a Popeyes fried chicken house, okay? They ended up, I mean, the irony is a little too great to skip, but Muslims opened up a Popeyes chicken to earn enough money to make a bomb to bomb white Christians selling fried chicken to black people. Let's just call it what it is. That being said, I have to skip over that part.
I love fried chicken, but my family.
I know, but it's so ironic. It's just very ironic that Muslims sell enough fried chicken to black people in order to buy bomb to blow up white people. You have to say it's like a joke almost writes itself. But that's not the point of what I'm saying. The fact, it's funny, it's hilarious. But the fact of the matter, Joe, is that the American dream has been denied to people in my age who look like me, white Christian young men, millennials like me. They can't even dream of owning a $250 million home. But these foreign invaders come in here and they use the government subsidies and all the programs to get a business loan, start a business, get a $250 million home, literally $2.5 million home that they bought. And then what happens? Their anchor baby children are brainwashed into schools and through TikTok to hate us. They then devise a bomb to throw a bomb at the same people, white American Christian men. Two bombs. Same people that gave them this opportunity to have this beautiful home and this beautiful life and this entrepreneurial American dream story. None of that satisfied them. Instead, they still wanted to replace us, destroy us, and kill us. So what will satisfy this people? Because my generation is looking at that home of these terrorists and saying, this is really screwed up. We'll never be able to afford that. But these invaders get it handed to them like that.
So let me add to you something that I think that is lost, and that is what you're saying about white people. It can be also said about black people, brown people. It doesn't matter. If you're an American, if you're not a foreigner, if you're an American, 2 generations, 3 generations down, you've been here for a long time, they're not just, I just want you to know, you're not special. They're not just stepping over white people. They're redefining what white is, first of all, right? They're telling people that you have to fit into this bucket if you're white. But they're stepping over brown people, black people. They're stripping them of opportunity. These Democrats are getting on stages and they're saying, I serve Somalia. Ilhan Omar.
I serve Frey. He was doing the Somali dance. You saw him?
Yeah. I mean, but my point is that they're stepping over Americans.
The Minnesota state flag is now the Somali flag. Did you know that?
I did not.
Flying high above the Minnesota state capitol is a flag that is indiscernible from Somalia. We are in occupied territory.
So this is where I think that we are building density, and that I met.
And
with
I like that you mention it for black people, but here's my point. I'm white, and I'm the one person, a pro-white activist, that's just saying, from my point of view, and from my community's point of view, my family, everyone, my high school didn't have any black people in it, Joe. Just to let you know, I grew up around all white people in the country in upstate New York. And I have my people, and I care about my people. It doesn't mean I don't care about black Americans that have been here for 5 generations. They have 1 million advocates. They've got every day.
Listen to me.
They have more advocates than you could ever imagine.
You missed my point.
And we are afraid of losing our country.
You missed my point, okay? And I want to make this clear. White people need advocacy because they have demonized white people, okay?
And I'm here.
Black people do not have advocacy at all. They have people that betray them and then sell them up a river and tell them that you have genocide as a right, in order, basically abortion, as a right, while they hand entitlements of free health care and free child care to foreign, Arabs or foreign Somalis, right? They get free everything while stepping over them as well. And they don't have advocates. So I guess what I'm saying is that white people need advocates that say, listen, we should support white people. And black people should have advocates that support black people. That doesn't happen either, though, right? So we have got to get to a place where race becomes secondary to us supporting each other, and that there is actual, that we have something that is ethical, that is authentic about that support. I think your support for white people is authentic. I don't think that many of the black people out there that say that they support or are fighting for black people really are fighting for black people. They're fighting for the dollars that come in, and they're walking past and stepping over black people.
Fighting for the Democrat plantation that is currently enslaving every single major city and black major majority metropolitan area.
Yeah.
So
I just want to.
Their advocates are really their jesters that are just keeping them entertained and selling them a story of, this is what's going to finally make us beat whitey. This is what's going to finally make us not have, substandard living and housing arrangements. But they just keep them on the hamster wheel of subservience to the government. And, I feel for them. But I also understand that it is the job of every man and every community in its own nature to bootstrap itself. If the black community is, really just tired of the Democrat Party, they're tired of the ghetto culture, they're tired of the Cardi B's being the ones that are their representatives, then they need to have a revolution and change from within. Jesus Christ needs to come back and be the focal point of the black community again. When they lost God, they lost everything, and they really lost everything. They lost the plot. The black community is really in a bad shape right now, completely brainwashed into this fast money, NFL, NBA.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. I'm telling you, bro. I'm meeting with people in these communities, and they are not brainwashed anymore. As a matter of fact, they are breaking free of the chains that they feel they're under. And so I think there's a lot of hope to go around in the things that you're doing. By the way, most black people are not anti-Jake Lang either, which is really weird that you have these white gropers that are hating on you. But the black community is like, hey, he's got something here. And by the way, we need to look at it. They're looking at it as an image of what is happening to white and blacks. We're all being used as pawns against each other in order to create a division, when frankly, it's the people in power who have betrayed and have betrayed the very people they say they represent.
Well, and I agree with that in so many ways, because what happens is when you keep on buying the disillusion that the political changes are going to actually affect you, and time again, they fail you, what happens is you get street activists like me saying, all right, it really doesn't matter what's happening. White people are still being replaced. So therefore, I must take to the streets and voice my opinion and try to make the change myself. The real problem is the gaslighting and the disillusionment by our politicians, the black politicians as well, saying that they're going to solve problems that they refuse to ever touch. And so then you get people like me saying, I'll take matters into my own hands And if I need to go into a Muslim majority area like Epic City, Plano, Texas, and tell those guys, get the fuck out of my country, remember when I said that, then that's what I have to do, because the political powers that be aren't representing me. They're not fighting for me. They're not fighting for my generation or people that look like me. So I must, at that point, take matters into my own hand and do this very bravado, very theatrical style of activism in order to get the eyeballs and the topic started. And now look, this latest protest that I did where we were attempted assassinated has changed the course of history. It's for 5 days straight, the news feed has been all about anti-Islam. And we now have sitting United States representatives in Congress talking about banning Islam. That was never on the table before this demonstration. So I firmly believe that if we do use our voices and we continue to punch through this social media, it's got a blockade. The algorithm is so hard to get through. But if we keep doing things to push through the algorithm and set the narrative and set the tone and recreate the culture and show people what we stand for, that we can affect true change. And I believe that, God willing, real true change will come from the realization that Islam is incompatible with New York, with the entire Western Hemisphere, and people will now really start to push against Islam like you've never seen before. And if we can solve that problem, which is a huge problem, it's literally taken over Europe. If we can solve that here, there's nothing that grassroots activism and real patriots standing up in the streets and demanding from our leaders change can do. We can solve our problems if we use our voices and act like men and fight back and stand. And that's what I'm doing, Joe.
All right. Jake Lang. God bless you, brother. You keep fighting on this deal with this this thing that they're trying to slander you on with the youngsters. I've now answered it 3 or 4 times on text messages while I've been sitting here talking to you, and I was like, listen, I know he doesn't control socials, so I don't know what to say to you other than I know he doesn't control socials. And
I mean, there's nothing incriminating there. There's no inappropriate messages sent by my team to anybody. In fact, the conversation ended as soon as we learned that there were somebody underneath the age of 18. They said 16, I believe. So, we stopped that. We said, you can't come to the events if you're that young. So it is what it is. And, my team have now, a couple guys have been fired, and they've been briefed like, hey, if we're searching for women to do a Birkin bikini march, make sure they're, 25, 30 years old. We don't need any 18-year-olds there showing up in bikinis. So, and we're fighting really hard. And I think that march, when we do get that march going, that'll be another one that completely breaks the algorithm and the narrative. Because in America, we do have the right to wear our bikinis on beaches, unlike Saudi Arabia. So we're going to have burqas on top, bikinis on bottom, and we're going out in the streets of Tampa, Florida, because guess what? Tampa, Florida has been taken over. There's like 20 mosques there, and no one knows about that. Tampa, Florida is like 3rd or 4th biggest Muslim majority city in America, and nobody knows about it. So you have to bring this huge, seismic wave of media there, which this surely will do. So we'll continue to fight and make sure we protect our integrity.
All right, Jake Lang, thanks for joining me. I appreciate you being on.
God bless you, Joe.
God bless you, brother. Take care. Love him or hate him, he is fighting over and over and over again. I've heard all the stuff. Is he a chaos agent? You shouldn't have him on. I just got a text saying, you should not have Jake Lang on. Why? The same thing they said about me when I was on with Peter Boyles, right? The same thing that happened at Salem, same thing that Eric Coomer did by suing other people. Why would you try to silence him? You don't have to agree with everything he says. You don't. But we should have it opens the conversation. Like I got to open the conversation about black people being betrayed by the people that are in office and receiving hundreds of millions of dollars. Look what Black Lives Matter did for the leaders, the 4 people that ate tens of millions of dollars while the people suffered. And you had a whole wave of people that said I'm stepping away from Black Lives Matter because it's a garbage organization that does nothing but feed itself. I started this by talking about this IREHR thing from May of 2020. And the fact that I was called an anti-Semite, that I was called all of these things, and that I opened up the book and said, listen, there's a lot of these cabals, these secret handshakes that happen. And yet, I took you back to 2020 for a reason. Nothing's changed. I've been fighting the same way for the last 6 years. I have more wisdom. And I look at things like Jake Lang, and I understand where he came from in 2020 and spending 1,400 days in prison or in jail, only to be pardoned. And then to watch other J6ers not get pardoned. And to watch the long arm of the judiciary do really damaging things. And have to go through this 6-year ordeal in my own lawsuit with Eric Coomer because he's lying and I'm telling the truth. So I tell the truth, he's a liar. The lawyers do nothing but lie. David Beller's under a case. David Beller himself, Coomer's lawyer, is currently right now. Find me his page, by the way. Find me David Beller, the attorney. Find me his stuff for me, please. So I can put his picture up there and what law firm he represents so that you know who not to go to for anything. He is currently under a lawsuit, the Christopher Gregory case, for abuse of power, fraud, bribery, the biggest corruption case in the history of Colorado that nobody picked up because the AUSA of Colorado, Andrew Traskos, was married to Melissa Hart, who's a part of the fraud, who sat on the Supreme Court of Colorado's bench. Got into a huge accident, ran into a bunch of cars, did $100,000 in damage, drunk, and is known to be a drunk. Known inside, whistleblowers say over and over again, she has a drinking problem, forced to resign. AUSA swept it under the rug. Judges just happened to step down at the last possible minute for conflict because they're all conflicted out, because they're all a part of a system that is designed to just steal from you what's not theirs. These are really bad people. These are evil people that literally serve a criminal cartel. And I was saying it back in May of 2020. And frankly, I knew about it because I was overseas and I could see it. I had seen what they did with COVID. I had seen what they had did with Ebola in Africa. I had seen what they had did in Europe and in many parts of the Middle East when it related to the Arab Spring. I had seen it. I had seen the lies of Susan Rice. I had seen the lies of Jeffrey Sachs and the Millennium Project. I had seen what they had done in nearly every nation to use USAID as literally a punching bag for different nations. I had seen them steal elections. I saw what they did in Sudan to President al-Bashir. I went to Kanana Sugar, the only part of Sudan that's not in sanctioned nation status, and had conversations with people that were concerned about what was happening in Sudan. Airplanes would fall out of the sky with Sudan Airways because they were a sanctioned nation and they'd have these Boeings and they couldn't get parts. And so they still had to put people on those planes and they would fly them out there and hundreds of Sudanese would die. These were the names of people, by the way, who remain nameless because their lives never mattered enough to people like Susan Rice, who literally used them as a pawn to say that there was genocide and ethnic cleansing happening in Sudan that never happened. Darfur was a hoax. And I sit here and tell you that Darfur is a hoax as $6 billion of Americans' cash went over there. And the UN indicted President al-Bashir, the president of Sudan. They indicted him on genocide, war crimes, and they tried to have him tried at The Hague. And there was this white paper that was written that said, listen, it doesn't exist. There is no genocide. There is no ethnic cleansing. They've been intermarrying for thousands of years. By the way, let's go back to this really quick. Leave David Beller up there. I want everybody to see all this stuff on him. But they've been intermarrying for thousands of years. There's no ethnic cleansing. And genocide, you have the Janjaweed, the Chadian rebels, the 43 Darfurian rebel groups. You had the Libyan army. You had the Chads. You had all these different 9 other nations around a poorish nation with barely a border, unless you were at if you were at the airport. That nation, a very loose amount of sovereignty. But there was genocide because they said, "Oh, I saw him in a Sudanese army outfit." And they came in and they killed it, and they only had 2 or 3 people total that they had stood up and said, "You need to say this." And then you found out that Doctors Without Borders and other organizations have been infiltrated by CIA. And this, by the way, is something I know for a fact. It was 2012. It was 2012 when I went to help with a Young Life camp in Canada. And I had these big, it was these big slates. It's 3 hours into this camp. And I was up there to help, and I did it for 2 weeks. And I was coming back into the United States, and I'm sitting in the back of the car, and my in-laws are driving, and it's me and my in-laws, and we were coming back in, and I wrote a story about this that was published at multiple places, and then they finally took it down, and it said, "I am not a terrorist." I wrote this for Conservative Daily, put it out there. And the concept is that we were detained. They went through my computer. They went through my wallet. They interrogated my in-laws for hours. All because of the work that I did in the Middle East and Africa, helping people and saving lives. Things that I did. This apparatus decided that I was the enemy. Again, I never did anything illegal. And I bring this up because if I go back to 2020 and I look at what we're doing right now, I have an immense amount of knowledge. I have an immense amount of wisdom as it pertains to what's happening in the United States. Radical Islam has destroyed the Middle East. Let me say it again. Radical Islam has destroyed the Middle East. What the hell do you think is going to happen in the United States? Do you think radical Islam is like a cancer, is going to grow across the United States and it's going to be different here than it is there? They created a shithole over there. And you want to know why Dubai is so nice? Because radical Islam doesn't exist there. You want to know why Abu Dhabi is good, UAE? You want to know why Saudi Arabia has a sensibility to themselves? You can say, oh, the Saudis, they had the terrorists from Saudi Arabia that did the World Trade Center bombings, but we ignore what happened with Israel in the middle of all that. We're dancing in the streets at things that happened to us on our own soil. Well, even some Jews died. Others were told to stay away. A country that is absolutely captured the same way the United States is captured. Captured there, and they're willing to use their own people as pawns. Hence, October 7th. Do we need to talk about that again? October 7th, 2024? In Israel. You had them come in and they bombed, came in and flew in with little things. And for 7 hours, the IDF was told to stay out of the area while they slaughtered Israelis. They slaughtered their own people. Do you think this fraternity, the synagogue of Satan, these people that have captured, do you think they care about you? They don't even care. They don't even believe that God exists. Hence the fact that I call them the people that hide behind being Jewish and saying, you can't touch me, you anti-Semite, while betraying the very people they say they represent. They're not Jews. They're evil, evil people who do evil, evil things to not just Christians and Muslims and everyone. They do it to their own people because they are the ultimate betrayers. They are devils. But if you go back to 2020, and I hope when you go back and watch this show again, you watch the whole thing, you understand, you can appreciate the things that I'm telling you right now. And that is as simple as this. We want free and fair elections. Black people, brown people, white people, Democrats, Republicans, Independents, Constitution Party, Libertarians, they're all sick of the shit. And when we start talking about Senator Thune and we look at it as a transactional environment, are you or are you not betraying the American people? Susan Collins, are you or are you not betraying the American people? And the answer to the question is, if 82% of America says pass the SAVE Act, then you pieces of shit get to the table and you pass the SAVE Act. But you have guys that are using dog whistles that are no longer useful anymore. You have people like Adam Schiff, that says, hey, when we get back into power, we're going to basically undo everything and we're going to wreck it. What do you think that does for most of America? Because I'm talking to those communities, and you know what? They have no appetite for Democrats. They see what they're doing inside of this deal to strip us of our Second Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights, the ability to basically use lawfare and to use the system in order to destroy us. They see that as this overarching, I don't even know what you'd call it. Evil? They can see it. Democrats aren't stupid. Black people are not stupid. Unless you're from Somalia, I guess. Maybe there's some smart Somalis. Their average IQ is like 60. I mean, I've seen bread loaves with a higher IQ. I mean, look at Ilhan Omar. Sorry, it's truth. Since 2020, my plight has been the same, has not changed. And that is the American people should not be used as pawns in their own country. We should not be strangers in our own country, and we should not be held hostage in our own country or our own state. And in large part, that's why I'm running for governor. That's why I'm doing the things I'm doing. That's why I do this podcast every day for 2 days, 2 hours. Because I can tell you something else. I got plenty of things I can get done in this 2 hour period of time every day, 5 days a week. And I brought Jake on because I wanted to hear what he had to say. And why would you have to slander a guy with a 15-year-old? And anybody that knows anything about someone that has a large following, by the way, guys, get on the mic real quick. Get on the mic, please. Do you guys, can they hear you?
Yes, they can.
Okay. Do you guys have full access to all of my DMs?
Yes.
All of them, correct?
Yes.
Do I hide anything from you?
No.
Am I talking to any 15-year-olds?
No.
Am I talking to anybody out there that would be, or you wouldn't even, right?
No.
Yeah.
All clean.
But you're also here.
Correct.
And his people are over in Uzbekistan. I don't even know where they're from. So I think the public, I think you have to be smarter than these people that want to lead you off a cliff and say, Jake bad, Jake good. Look, I had a big fight with him. I told him to show up. Come on out here. He said he was gonna whoop my ass. I was like, you could try. Bigger men have tried, and I've seen you, Jake. You're not a bigger man than me. He's like, old man, old man, old man. I'm like, okay. But then, months passed, and we reconciled. He's the one that reached out to say, look, I'm really sorry. I shouldn't have said those things. And he does have a habit of getting over his skis. But right now he's fighting. And you could say whatever you want about what he's fighting for. You can not like it or you can like it. I'm not going to dictate who I put on this show based upon what you tell me I can and cannot have on my show. I won't do it. That's the beautiful part about it. And frankly, I think he explained himself well. All right, let's look at this. Jake, is not your country, blacks, browns, right? Yeah, I agree with all that. Chris, people have their own color, a thing. We have to deal with it. People have made color a thing. We have to deal with it. Chris knows about this, by the way. She can tell you a little bit about interracial environments. And she has the patience of a saint. As a Christians, we should do better. Warrior gal, I'll tell you this. As a person that has grown up in the environment where I've seen racists, I understand who they are. Most of them are closets. I appreciate people that are at least truthful about it. I think most people do, especially black people. They actually, okay, you're racist, good. At least I know, right? Any black person who votes Damien Rats in office is a traitor to their fellow Americans. Yeah, but see, what you don't understand is that people don't know who to believe because they all lie. I mean, just so you know, I just got done talking about Senator Thune, and he's betraying the people because he can actually get it done. We don't have the Democrats, we have the Republicans, and we can't get anything done. We can't even get our appointments done because they betray the American people that said, we want Trump in office and we want people that think like him to go out there and represent us on the foreign stage and on the domestic stage. What else we got? If you lift up Jesus and our love for God and country, you'll be far more successful. I agree with that fully too. Jeff says, echo, we need to become a smelting pot and purify. Smelting pot, that's interesting. The melting pot melted So that is that. Our elections are more penetrated than Sodom and Gomorrah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. We should not have, nor would we ever elect the people that are actually in power. We wouldn't elect any of these people. And we would not put these bureaucrats in the positions they're in. We wouldn't do it. Most Americans are really just simple. They just want life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. Get out of the way, take away the regulations, stop taxing us to death, and stop going on foreign soils and killing our brothers and sisters in foreign wars. And you know what? If you didn't have the CIA all over the world doing really bad things to people and not respecting the sovereignty of nations and stealing elections using election machines that were actually manufactured in the United States with election systems that are used in those different countries, we wouldn't have this problem. We would not have this problem. All right, let's pray it out. Before we do, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, and more. We're going to be on Amazon here very shortly, and you'll be able to just contribute. It's like $1 a month or something. With that said, we have enough people here that if we're going to be doing more on, I've now been given the green light to do more on, what's it called? What's it called? The thing that I did. Help me. I can write articles on it. Here, let me just tell you real quick. Substack. There you go. Substack. I'll be able to do some stuff on Substack. If you can support us, it's great. It goes towards supporting all the things that you can't see in this room. But we are going to get some more. And then support the people that I bring on as advertisers. Right? We've got some great things coming. And if you want to be a part of, if you have guns in your home, I've got a program that we're going to be putting out to you. If you have guns in your home, you've got to be protected. You have insurance on your car, you don't have insurance on your life, and you should. So we've got a program that we're putting together with, that'll give you the ability to come to Colorado and shoot at DCF, be a member at DCF Guns, and which gives you access to certain discounts if you're not local. But also, it gives you the ability to stay protected if you ever have to brandish a firearm, or they call it menacing in Colorado, or you get in a fight, you beat someone with a bat, any of those stuff. So it's part of the USCCA program. They're going to be coming on as a partner as well. So the biggest thing that you can do is that you can share the message if you agree with it. If you don't agree with it, then don't share it. But if you do agree with it, then become a person that can actually say, hey, think about this or look at this. And if you don't agree with Jake, ask other people if they do agree with the interview that I had with Jake. But at the end of the day, we've got to get to a place where we have a better grasp on reality, and we can reject the ridiculousness that we're trying to debate with every day. So I hope that helps. Before you go, hit the little up button if you're on Rumble. Before you do, every time you're on here, I just want you to go and hit the little thumbs up. Make sure you hit the thumbs up on Rumble. The Rumble does a really good job of stopping us from having any sort of progress. It's just who they are. So I just accept it for where it is, what it is. But the people that are on the website, I just appreciate all your support there. And we're on Brighteon and a bunch of other places as well that on radio stations. So I appreciate the conversation we had on Saturday with a couple of people that reached out to me to say, hey, listen, my radio station just picked you up. They have full right to do it. I've given them the ability to rebroadcast as well. Tell Untamed Patrick, tell Joe Oltmann that Tina was found not guilty of the assault job, please. Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I do know that. We're going to get Tina out. That's going to be next on the list. So just understand that's about to happen. So, again, let's pray it out. Father God, thank you for the time that we have together. Thank you for Jake coming on. Thank you for this fight for the last 6 years and the strength and the conviction that you've given so many of us to stand in the gap and to do what is necessary to restore you to our community and to our country. Father, I ask you for discernment. I ask you for wisdom. I ask you for all the things that we need, not just for me, but for our leaders, for President Trump, and even for people like Senator Thune, who have betrayed the very essence of who we are as Americans, treating us like slaves. I know, Father, that we are supposed to break the bonds, break the bondage that we're in, to break these chains, get to a place where the people can have a voice, your people can have a voice. but we can do so while we stay firmly grounded in goodness. Help us, Father, to have patience with each other, and help us that we may speak the truth at all times, regardless of the consequences. And thank you, Father, for just the blessings that you poured upon us. I say these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Beller, put up David Beller again. This is the David Beller guy that, by the way, is Coomer's attorney that wants, I don't know what you want to call him. He wants to have a protection order 6 years later because he said that I did this. Let me see if I can show you. I put up my gun like this. I carry a gun everywhere I go. This is very true. The reason why I have to carry a gun is because of people like David Beller who lie with impunity. I have never called for anybody at all. I've never called for anybody to have death. I've said that we should try people for treason. If they're found guilty, they should hang by the neck till dead. I said that if you're found guilty of treason, if you don't like it, change the law, because that's what it says. We have a First Amendment right to speak truth. But for 6 years, I have put up with these being the punching bag of pieces of shit like this guy, David Beller. David Beller, the guy that, frankly, he's the guy that is key, ground zero for the Christopher Gregory case, for the Macias bribery case, and so much more bribery. He's involved in it. Yeah, so this guy, David Beller, the attorney, who's involved in a conspiracy with Supreme Court justices of Colorado and with lawyers and other judges in the city and county of Denver. This guy, this stick figure, now just abuses the judiciary and uses lawfare in order to cause harm. He's a liar, and he's been lying for 6 years. They have been lying for the last 6 years. They have a client that lied about me. So I don't talk about Eric Coomer because I give a shit about Eric Coomer. He has basically wreaked havoc on my life with his lies. I can't escape it. I got a Wikipedia page that allows for this guy to do an amazing amount of harm to my reputation. And so frankly, I don't care what David Beller says. But here's what I will tell you. People like David Beller and people like the Supreme Court justices and people that have stolen from the people of Colorado and have abused the system, they should not have immunity. They should not have any immunity at all. They should be arrested for their crimes. General Griswold, Polis, Weasel Weiser, all of them. So go ahead. You're the ambassadors of truth. You handle things on your side. I'll handle it on mine. Thank you for stopping by. And yeah, just looking at the comments. Aloha, beloved brother, speak the truth. Awesome, coming from a friend of mine, friend of a friend that follows you. Hey, it's good to have you here. Glad you got to spend some time with us today. God bless you all, and I will see you tomorrow.
Rising from the fight for the forgotten and the free, exposing rigged machines, Coomer's lies, dominions deceit, pays a grand each day, shielding truth from corrupt halls, but he won't back down, standing tall through it all. Martin, Tina Peters break the chains that bind her tight, hand count votes and one day bring the fraud to light. No more mailing scams, no machines to steal the night. Restore the people's voice, make Colorado right. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the bloated state, let the people have their say. It's our rally call. Truth and freedom rise and watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people. Set our great state free. Help the single mom. dominions, rig design, expose the stolen votes, cross a dangerous line. No more victimhood, no chains on you and me. He's running for governor for real liberty. Smash a fraud machine, pardon heroes jailed for the have-nots. Rising truth will never fail. One warrior defies the corrupt elite. Colorado reborn, strong on our feet. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Badass for the have-nots, fighting through and through. Abolish property tax, cut the tolls away. Shrink the blow to stay, let the people have this. Governor Oltmann, it's our rally call. Truth and freedom rising, watch the tyrants fall. Untamed Colorado, strong and proud, we'll be one man for the people, set our great state free. Governor Oltmann, lead us bold and true. Governor Oltmann, freedom forever, Colorado rise. Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Oltmann, Governor Rise up untamed in the heart of the fire where the wild ones roam. Joe Oltmann's calling, bringing truth back home. From conservative daily to this untamed fire, we shatter the silence, lifting spirits higher. No chains can hold us, no lies can prevail. Authentic and fearless on this rugged trail. Patriots gather under stars and stripes. Untamed nation, igniting the night. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our battle song, motivating hearts where the brave belong. Yeah, untamed and wild, forever strong. Play it again all night long. Break the mold, chase the real. No more games, time to heal. Joe's voice leads the untamed crew. Truth matters through and through. Untamed nation, let the truth roll out in this land of the free. Standing proud from sea to shining sea, we won't back down. Catch the fire, wear the crown. Untamed nation, it's our